Stop right there. Stop treating peace like it is a luxury for people whose lives are easy. Stop treating peace like it belongs only to people who have no bills, no pressure, no enemies, no deadlines, no children, no disappointment, no history, and no warfare. That is not peace. That is convenience. And convenience is not spiritual fruit. Peace is not decoration for a calm season. Peace is evidence that the Spirit of God is governing the interior life of a person who still has to live in a world full of noise. You have been calling peace a mood. God calls it fruit. You have been calling peace a personality type. God calls it evidence. You have been saying, I'm just not a peaceful person. No, that is not what you are. You are an untrained person. You are a person who has been taught to react, but not taught to rule. You have been taught to answer every provocation, explain every misunderstanding, fix every atmosphere, absorb every offense, and then wonder why your spirit is exhausted. Let me tell you something. Exhaustion is not always proof that you are working hard. Sometimes exhaustion is proof that you are mismanaging what God told you to guard. Peace is not fragile. Immaturity is fragile. Peace is not weakness. Disorder is weakness. Peace is not denial. Peace is government. When God begins to restore order inside a person, one of the first evidences is that everything outside of them loses the power to command everything inside of them. That does not mean you do not feel pressure. That does not mean you do not experience pain. That does not mean you smile while life is bleeding. No, don't misunderstand me. Peace does not mean nothing is happening around you. Peace means something greater is happening within you. And this is where many people get deceived. They think if they lost their peace, they only lost the feeling. No! When you hand away your peace, you are not just losing a feeling, you are mismanaging evidence of the Spirit's work in you. You are taking fruit that heaven has been cultivating and placing it in the hands of people who did not plant it, cannot nourish it, and have no authority to harvest it. You are letting temporary noise rob eternal formation. That is dangerous. The enemy does not care if you sing about peace as long as you surrender it when pressure comes. He does not care if you quote about peace as long as one phone call can take it from you. He does not care if you post about peace as long as one comment, one rumor, one attitude, one delay, one rejection, one family conversation can drag you back into the old version of yourself. Because if your peace can be stolen easily, your decisions can be manipulated easily, and if your decisions can be manipulated, your destiny can be delayed. Some of you have normalized chaos because nobody trained you to protect what God is growing. You grew up in noise, so noise feels familiar. You grew up around panic, so panic feels responsible. You grew up around people who confuse urgency with importance, anger with honesty, and control with love. So now when your life gets quiet, you get suspicious. When your spirit gets still, you feel guilty. When God gives you rest, you start looking for something to worry about because disorder has been your home so long that peace feels foreign. But I came to confront that lie today. Chaos may be familiar, but it is not your inheritance. Anxiety may be common, but it is not your identity. Pressure may be real, but it is not your master. You were not created by God to be an open room where every voice walks in, every fear sits down, every offense rearranges the furniture, and every person with a crisis gets to govern the atmosphere. You are the temple of the Holy Spirit. And temples are not casual spaces. Temples are governed spaces. Sacred things require order. Stress may visit you, but it does not have to move in. Pressure may test you, but it does not have to rule you. People may provoke you, but they do not have to possess you. Life may knock on the door with difficulty, disappointment, betrayal, delay, criticism, and confusion, but peace is not supposed to be surrendered at every knock on the door. Stop opening the door to everything that wants access to your spirit. Stop giving permanent authority to temporary disturbances. Stop calling it just life when it is really a lack of stewardship. Peace must be stewarded. Peace must be cultivated. Peace must be guarded. The fruit of the Spirit is not produced so you can admire it in easy seasons and abandon it in hard seasons. Fruit is proven under pressure. A tree does not prove its strength when the weather is perfect. A tree proves its roots when the storm comes. Anybody can look peaceful when nothing is challenging them. Anybody can speak softly when nobody has offended them. Anybody can smile when everything is going their way. But kingdom peace is different. Kingdom peace stands in the middle of contradiction and says, I am governed by another realm. That is why this teaching matters. Because God is not just trying to calm you down. He is trying to bring you into order. He is restoring government in your inner life. He is teaching you that your spirit is not a public street. Your mind is not a dumping ground. Your heart is not a storage unit for other people's dysfunction. Your peace is evidence that heaven has established authority inside of you. So if you know God is restoring order in your inner life, stay with this teaching. Don't just listen casually. Listen like a person who is ready to grow. And if you want more kingdom-centered growth, more truth that trains you, corrects you, strengthens you, and calls you back to your assignment, then subscribe and stay connected. But before we go any further, I want you to put a demand on your own spirit. Comment these words. I will not hand away my peace. Say it until your emotions hear it. Say it until your habits hear it. Say it until your past understands that it no longer has permission to govern your present. I will not hand away my peace. Because peace is not comfort. Peace is evidence. Now listen to me carefully. The reason the enemy attacks your peace is because he understands something many believers have forgotten. Whatever governs your peace will eventually govern your decisions. Whatever gets access to your inner life will start influencing your outer life. If anger controls your peace, anger will control your words. If fear controls your peace, fear will control your choices. If rejection controls your peace, rejection will control your relationships. If offense controls your peace, offense will control your direction. Do not be deceived. You never make decisions only with your mind. You make decisions from the condition of your spirit. A disturbed spirit will make a foolish option look like wisdom. A wounded spirit will make revenge feel like justice. A fearful spirit will make running away look like discernment. A bitter spirit will make isolation look like protection. That is why confusion is expensive. Confusion will cost you time. Confusion will cost you relationships. Confusion will cost you opportunities. Confusion will make cheap decisions look urgent, and it will make destructive voices sound important. This is why peace is not optional. Peace is government. Panic is rebellion. Peace says, I am submitted to the order of God. Panic says, every emotion in me has a right to vote. Peace allows you to hear purpose clearly. Panic makes you negotiate with every feeling, every fear, every rumor, every memory, every accusation, every imagined outcome. And when panic becomes your counselor, you will begin to call impulse obedience. You will begin to call reaction honesty. You will begin to call instability sensitivity. No, that is not sensitivity. That is an ungoverned soul. Let me tell you something. The enemy does not have to destroy your assignment if he can disturb your spirit. He does not have to cancel your destiny if he can keep you making decisions from agitation. He does not have to stop what God spoke if he can keep you responding to what people said. One offended person can pull you into a conversation that steals your focus. One jealous critic can pull you into proving what God never asked you to explain. One unresolved family pattern can sit in the control room of your soul and make you repeat cycles you were born to break. And that is a lie from the pit of hell, designed to keep gifted people distracted, drained, and spiritually available to everything except purpose. It is a lie to believe that being spiritual means being available to every demand. It is a lie to believe that being loving means answering every argument. It is a lie to believe that being humble means defending yourself against every accusation. It is a lie to believe that being responsible means running into every crisis that somebody creates because they refuse to grow. Availability is not always obedience. Sometimes availability is distraction dressed in religious language. Jesus was compassionate, but he was not careless with access. He healed people, but he also withdrew. He taught crowds, but he also went apart. He loved deeply, but he did not allow human pressure to govern divine assignment. Why? Because purpose requires government. Assignment requires focus. Destiny requires an inner life that is not for sale to every emotional emergency. You cannot say God gave you purpose and then let every offended person drive your decisions. You cannot say God called you and then let every critic sit at the table of your mind. You cannot say you are walking in destiny while your direction changes every time somebody misunderstands you, attacks you, ignores you, rejects you, or reminds you of who you used to be. Stop giving steering wheel authority to people who do not know the destination God placed in you. Your peace must be protected because your decisions are governed by the condition of your inner life. If your inner life is ruled by heaven, your choices will carry order. If your inner life is ruled by panic, your choices will carry chaos. And some of you do not need a new opportunity. You need a governed spirit. You do not need another open door. You need the discipline not to walk through every door that opens. You do not need more voices. You need to silence the voices that keep pulling you away from purpose. Protect your peace like your assignment depends on it, because it does. Now this brings us to a very serious matter, access. Because if peace is fruit, access is stewardship. If God is producing something in you, you are responsible for who gets close enough to touch it. You do not let everybody shake the tree and then blame God because the fruit keeps falling before its season. Stop acting surprised that your peace is disturbed when your inner life has no door, no lock, no discernment, no standard, and no government. Not every voice deserves access to your inner room. I know that sounds hard to some of you because you have been trained to think love means unlimited access. You have been trained to think kindness means no boundaries. You have been trained to think being spiritual means letting everybody speak into you, correct you, advise you, interrupt you, question you, and deposit their confusion into your spirit. That is a lie. It is a religious lie, but it is still a lie. Love without discernment becomes emotional slavery. Kindness without boundaries becomes self-betrayal. Openness without wisdom becomes an invitation for disorder. Listen to me. Boundaries are not bitterness. Boundaries are not pride. Boundaries are not punishment. Boundaries are not isolation. Boundaries are wisdom protecting what God is cultivating. A fence around a garden is not hatred toward the street. It is protection for the seed. A gate on a house is not rejection of the neighborhood. It is stewardship of what is valuable. A temple had courts, rooms, veils, and order, because sacred things are not handled casually. So stop apologizing for protecting what heaven is producing in you. Some people only call you prideful because they lost easy access to manipulate you. Some people only call you cold because you stopped letting their chaos become your assignment. Some people only call you distant because your growth removed them from a position they abused. Don't misunderstand me. You do not become arrogant. You do not become cruel. You do not become suspicious of everybody, but you must become governed. You must stop confusing a soft heart with an open door. You can forgive a person and still revoke their access. You can love a person and still stop letting their voice lead your spirit. You can pray for a person and still refuse to let their disorder sit in the control room of your soul. Here is where people get confused. They think every voice is equal because every voice is loud. No, volume is not authority. Familiarity is not authority. Emotion is not authority. History is not authority. Just because someone has known you for a long time does not mean they have earned the right to influence your future. Just because someone is related to you does not mean they understand your assignment. Just because someone has an opinion does not mean they have counsel. There is a difference between counsel and commentary. Counsel sharpens your purpose. Commentary drains your focus. Counsel carries responsibility. Commentary only carries opinion. Counsel asks, what is God building in you, and how can truth strengthen it? Commentary says, here is what I feel, here is what I heard, here is what I think, here is what I would do if I were you. Counsel comes from people who have fruit, wisdom, discipline, and spiritual weight. Commentary comes from people who have access to your life, but no responsibility for your destiny. Stop giving commentary the weight of counsel. Stop letting casual observers speak like architects over the house God is building in you. Everybody who can see the construction is not qualified to read the blueprint. Everybody who notices your process is not authorized to interpret your purpose. Builders deserve access to the blueprint. Critics can look from the sidewalk. And some of you are exhausted because you keep inviting sidewalk opinions into the meeting room of your destiny. Jesus understood access. He loved the crowd, but he did not give the crowd inner circle access. He taught the multitude, but he did not explain everything to the multitude. He had 12 disciples, but even among the 12, there were 3 he took into certain places. Peter, James, and John saw moments that the crowd did not see. They entered rooms that the crowd did not enter. They witnessed glory and agony at a level others were not invited to carry. Why? Because even love has levels of access. Even purpose has chambers. Even the Son of God did not manage his assignment by giving everybody the same proximity. If Jesus had levels of access, why do you think you are supposed to let everybody into everything? Why do you think every friend deserves every detail? Why do you think every relative deserves every explanation? Why do you think every critic deserves a response? Why do you think every wounded person gets a key to your heart? No. That is not humility. That is poor stewardship. You must learn the difference between ministering to people and letting them manage you. You can serve the crowd without being controlled by the crowd. You can love people without letting their opinions become your instructions. You can be present without being possessed. You can be compassionate without being conquered. The crowd may receive from you, but the crowd must not govern you. And I want to warn you about something dangerous. Emotional hospitality without discernment. Some of you have made your heart a public shelter for every complaint, every fear, every offense, every accusation, every rumor, every emergency, every emotional storm. You keep saying, I'm just trying to be there for people. But while you are being there for everybody, you are becoming absent from yourself. While you are holding everybody's emotions, you are losing sensitivity to God's instruction. While you are making room for every human voice, there is no room left for divine direction. Your heart was not created to be a warehouse for other people's disorder. Your mind was not created to be a bulletin board for everybody's opinion. Your spirit was not created to be a meeting room for fear, gossip, jealousy, manipulation, and confusion. You are not being loving when you let everything enter you. You are being unguarded. And an unguarded spirit will always become an exhausted spirit. Protecting your peace begins with discerning who has earned access to influence your spirit. Not who demands access. Not who expects access. Not who feels entitled to access. Who has earned it? Who has shown fruit? Who has shown wisdom? Who corrects you without crushing you? Who strengthens your assignment without feeding your ego? Who tells you the truth and still protects your spirit? Who points you back to God when your emotions are trying to become your master? Those are the voices you honor. Those are the voices you weigh. Those are the voices you allow near the tree. Because peace is too valuable to be placed in the hands of people who only know how to shake, criticize, drain, and consume. Guard the inner room. Guard the gate. Guard the fruit. Not because you hate people, but because you fear God enough to protect what He is cultivating in you. Now let me take you one step deeper, because boundaries expose something that many people do not want to admit. Some of you are not tired because life is heavy. You are tired because you keep carrying things God never put in your hands. You are exhausted because you are trying to be savior, judge, counselor, rescuer, prophet, mediator, emotional nurse, victim manager, and family redeemer at the same time. And then you call it love. No, stop right there. That is not love. That is misplaced responsibility dressed in spiritual language. You were not designed to replace God in another person's life. You were not created to become the Holy Spirit for people who refuse conviction. You were not assigned to manage the emotions of grown people who have decided that their disorder is everybody else's emergency. You can love people deeply and still refuse to become the storage place for their dysfunction. Some of you have made a ministry out of managing chaos. Every time somebody is upset, you run. Every time somebody is offended, you explain. Every time somebody is dramatic, you adjust. Every time somebody threatens withdrawal, you panic. Every time somebody creates a storm, you become the umbrella, the shelter, the medic, and the cleanup crew. And then you wonder why you have no strength left for your assignment. Listen to me carefully. Some battles are not your battlefield. Some emergencies are not your assignment. And some people are not asking for help. They are asking for control. They do not want wisdom. They want access. They do not want healing. They want attention. They do not want truth. They want you to reorganize your peace around their immaturity. And if you are not discerning, you will spend your whole life bleeding for people who only love you when you are useful to their dysfunction. That is why guilt is dangerous. Guilt will make you call bondage compassion. Guilt will make you call exhaustion loyalty. Guilt will make you call fear honor. Guilt will make you call manipulation relationship. Guilt will make you apologize for boundaries that God Himself required you to establish. And there are people who know how to use your compassion against you. They know if they cry long enough, accuse loudly enough, withdraw dramatically enough, or remind you of the past painfully enough, you will abandon your peace and come running. But peace cannot survive where guilt is your governor. You cannot be led by the Spirit and controlled by guilt at the same time. The Spirit leads you into truth. Guilt drags you into bondage. The Spirit corrects you into maturity. Guilt condemns you into performance. The Spirit gives you conviction with direction. Guilt gives you heaviness with no deliverance. And some of you have mistaken guilt for God because guilt sounds urgent. But urgency is not always divine. Sometimes urgency is manipulation, wearing a religious coat. You are responsible for obedience. You are responsible for character. You are responsible for truth. You are responsible for love. You are responsible for the words you speak, the spirit you carry, the decisions you make, and the assignment God placed in your life. But you are not responsible for controlling another person's response to your boundaries. You are not responsible for making immature people feel comfortable with your growth. You are not responsible for convincing everybody that your obedience is valid. You are not responsible for managing the disappointment of people who benefited from your lack of order. That is where freedom begins. Freedom begins when you stop taking ownership of what belongs to somebody else. Their reaction belongs to them. Their bitterness belongs to them. Their refusal to grow belongs to them. Their offense belongs to them. Their interpretation belongs to them. Their need to control belongs to them. Your obedience belongs to you. Your peace belongs to your stewardship. Your assignment belongs to your discipline. Stop trading your responsibility for their reaction. Do not misunderstand me. I am not telling you to become cold. I am not telling you to become selfish. I am not telling you to walk past genuine pain with a hard heart. No. Kingdom people love. Kingdom people serve. Kingdom people carry compassion. But compassion has discernment. Service has order. Love has government. Jesus fed people, but He did not let hunger redefine His mission. Jesus healed people, but He did not let need govern His schedule. Jesus wept, but He did not surrender His assignment to human emotion. He was moved with compassion, but He was never manipulated by demand. You must learn that same government. Serve people without surrendering your assignment. Love people without losing your center. Help people without becoming hostage to their habits. Be present without becoming possessed. Because if every cry becomes your command, then God is no longer leading you. People are. If every accusation becomes your assignment, then purpose is no longer governing you. Fear is. If every emotional disturbance pulls you out of obedience, then you are not walking in love. You are walking in bondage. Some of you need to resign from a position God never gave you. Resign from being everybody's rescuer. Resign from being the family shock absorber. Resign from being the emotional garbage collector. Resign from being the unpaid manager of other people's immaturity. Resign from the false assignment of keeping everybody pleased, everybody calm, everybody approving, everybody close, everybody satisfied. That job is killing your peace, and God never hired you for it. There is a difference between carrying a burden in prayer and carrying a burden in your identity. There is a difference between helping someone stand and letting them sit on your shoulders forever. There is a difference between walking with people and dragging people who refuse to move. Even Jesus asked, do you want to be made whole? Because willingness matters. Desire matters. Responsibility matters. You cannot want deliverance for people more than they want it for themselves and still keep your peace intact. So here is the correction. Stop using your peace as payment for connection. Stop paying for relationships with your nervous system, your sleep, your focus, your obedience, and your spiritual sensitivity. If the only way they can stay close to you is by keeping you anxious, confused, guilty, and available for every crisis, then what they want is not relationship, it is control. Protect your peace by returning responsibility to its rightful owner. Let adults be adults. Let choices have consequences. Let truth stand without your constant explanation. Let boundaries speak without your panic. Let God be God in people's lives. You obey. You love. You tell the truth. You keep your character clean. You refuse bitterness. You refuse revenge. You refuse pride. But you also refuse to carry what heaven did not assign. Because you cannot protect your peace while carrying responsibilities God never gave you. You cannot guard fruit with both hands full of other people's disorder. Put it down. Put down the false burden. Put down the borrowed chaos. Put down the emotional debt that never belonged to you. Your assignment needs your strength. Your future needs your focus. Your spirit needs order. And God is not asking you to abandon love. He is asking you to stop confusing love with bondage. Now, after you put it down, you must understand something deeper. Boundaries can protect peace, but boundaries cannot produce peace. A fence can protect a garden, but a fence cannot grow fruit. A gate can keep thieves out, but a gate cannot make seed live. A wall can stop intrusion, but a wall cannot create maturity. So do not think that because you blocked some voices, ended some conversations, limited some access, and stopped carrying false burdens, peace will automatically become your nature. No. That is only one part of stewardship. Peace is protected externally by boundaries, but it is produced internally by formation. You cannot protect what you have not cultivated. You cannot guard fruit that has never grown. You cannot demand peace from your environment if you have never allowed God to build peace in your spirit. Some of you want a peaceful life, but you do not want a disciplined soul. You want quiet around you, but you have no order within you. You want people to stop disturbing you, but you have not learned how to stop agreeing with disturbance inside yourself. Stop right there. I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, if people would just leave me alone, I would have peace. No, that is not the whole truth. If people leave you alone and fear is still your counselor, you will still be troubled. If people leave you alone and insecurity is still your master, you will still be restless. If people leave you alone and your identity is still rendered from approval, you will still be unstable. Isolation is not formation. Distance is not deliverance. Silence around you is not the same as government within you. Peace is not passivity. Peace is not pretending nothing hurts. Peace is not smiling while your soul is collapsing. Peace is trained stability under pressure. Peace is the ability to remain governed when circumstances are loud, when people misunderstand, when doors close, when money is tight, when plans change, when accusations rise, when emotions scream, and when life does not cooperate with your schedule. Peace says, my spirit is under government. Peace says, my life is not ruled by the loudest thing happening around me. Peace says, I will not let temporary storms become permanent masters. That kind of peace does not appear accidentally. It is cultivated. It is grown through discipline, prayer, truth, and obedience. Not wishes, not moods, not inspirational thoughts. Discipline, prayer, truth, obedience. These are not religious decorations. They are roots. Prayer roots you in the presence of God. Truth roots you in reality. Discipline roots you in consistency. Obedience roots you in alignment. And when roots go deep, branches can survive wind. This is why the seed matters. Food grows in hidden places before it appears in public places. A seed does not begin by impressing the crowd. A seed begins in dirt, in darkness, in silence, in pressure, where nobody applauds it, nobody photographs it, nobody congratulates it, nobody calls it successful. It disappears before it emerges. It breaks before it bears. It goes down before it comes up. And some of you keep asking God for fruit while rejecting the hidden place where fruit is formed. The hidden place is not punishment. The hidden place is cultivation. God will grow peace in you in seasons where nobody sees your obedience. He will grow peace in you when you choose prayer instead of panic. He will grow peace in you when you choose truth instead of fantasy. He will grow peace in you when you forgive without chasing access. He will grow peace in you when you obey without applause. He will grow peace in you when you stop explaining yourself to people who have already decided to misunderstand you. Do not despise quiet formation. The person who practices truth in private can stand with peace in public. The person who learns to be governed when nobody is watching will not fall apart when everybody is watching. Public storms reveal private roots. Pressure does not create your condition. Pressure exposes your condition. Wind does not create weak roots. Wind reveals them. Crisis does not create disorder. Crisis exposes what was never formed. That is why applause is dangerous when it becomes your oxygen. If your peace depends on agreement, your peace is fragile. If your peace depends on likes, your peace is rented. If your peace depends on constant reassurance, your peace is in the custody of people. If you need everybody to understand you before you can obey God, then people have become your source. And whatever becomes your source becomes your master. Listen carefully. Peace rented from people will always be expensive. They will raise the rent every time they change their mood. Today they approve you and you feel strong. Tomorrow they ignore you and you feel empty. Today they clap and you feel called. Tomorrow they criticize and you question your assignment. That is not peace. That is emotional dependency wearing a spiritual outfit. Root your peace in God, not in applause. Root your peace in truth, not in agreement. Root your peace in obedience, not in reassurance. You were not designed to live from reaction to reaction. You were designed to live from assignment. You were designed by a creator who placed purpose in you. And purpose requires an inner life that can carry weight. God cannot put certain responsibilities on an ungoverned soul. He cannot trust public influence to private instability. He cannot place heavy fruit on shallow roots. If the branch is going to carry fruit, the root must first carry depth. So go back to the hidden place. Go back to prayer when nobody is impressed. Go back to truth when your emotions want drama. Go back to obedience when your flesh wants comfort. Go back to discipline when your mind wants excuses. Practice peace before you need peace. Practice government before the storm comes. Practice saying no before pressure demands it. Practice silence before accusation rises. Practice forgiveness before bitterness builds a house in your heart. Because the peace you protect tomorrow is the peace you cultivate today. Boundaries guard the garden, but formation grows the fruit. And if you want lasting peace, stop only asking who needs to leave your life and start asking what God needs to build in your spirit. Let Him form you. Let Him root you. Let Him correct you. Let Him govern you. Hidden roots produce visible strength. Private obedience produces public stability. And when your peace is grown in God, the world may shake around you, but it will not own you. And this is where relationships must be corrected, because many people lose their peace right here. They have cultivated something in God. They have begun to set order in their spirit, but then they open the door again because they confuse access with love. They think if they love somebody, they must answer every call, reply to every message, absorb every mood, explain every decision, tolerate every insult, and keep making room for repeated disrespect. No, stop right there. That is not love. That is emotional confusion wearing the language of compassion. Love is not the absence of limits. Love is not the death of discernment. Love is not handing someone the key to your inner life after they have proven they do not respect what God is building there. Love without wisdom becomes chaos. Love without order becomes bondage. Love without truth becomes a spiritual excuse for emotional damage. Some of you have been taught that if you create distance, you are not loving. If you stop answering immediately, you are being cold. If you say, I cannot carry this conversation right now, you are being selfish. If you refuse to be insulted, manipulated, provoked, and drained, you are being prideful. That is a lie. Love does not require you to become available for abuse. Love does not require you to surrender your peace to prove your heart is pure. Love does not require you to give unlimited access to people who repeatedly damage your peace. Listen carefully. You can bless people from a distance. You can forgive without re-entering bondage. You can honor someone without letting them govern your atmosphere. You can want good for them without letting their disorder sit at your table every day. Forgiveness releases the debt. It does not automatically restore the access. Forgiveness cleans your heart. It does not remove the need for wisdom. Forgiveness is spiritual freedom. Access is stewardship. Immature people demand access. Mature people respect order. Immature people say, if you love me, you will let me in whenever I want. Mature people say, I honor what God is doing in you, so I will not violate your boundaries. Immature people test limits. Mature people understand stewardship. Immature people use closeness as control. Mature people use closeness as responsibility. And you must learn the difference before you keep calling every attachment a covenant. Do not misunderstand me. I am not telling you to throw people away. I am telling you to stop throwing your peace away to keep people comfortable. There is a difference. Kingdom love is not careless. Kingdom love is governed. Kingdom love tells the truth. Kingdom love refuses revenge, refuses bitterness, refuses hatred, but it also refuses disorder. You can love with clean hands and still close the door. You can speak with honor and still say, this access is no longer healthy. You can pray for somebody and still not let them keep pulling your spirit into storms they refuse to outgrow. If a relationship consistently destroys the fruit God is producing, then that relationship needs structure. It needs truth. It needs distance. It needs a boundary strong enough to protect what apology alone has not changed. Because repeated damage without repentance is not a misunderstanding. It is a pattern. And patterns must be governed, not romanticized. Stop letting history override discernment. Stop letting guilt override peace. Stop letting loneliness override wisdom. Some people were part of a season, but they are not qualified for the chamber God is taking you into now. Some people can receive your kindness, but they cannot be trusted with your vulnerability. Some people can hear your greeting, but they cannot hold your heart. That is not hatred. That is order. Your peace is too valuable to be offered as proof of love. Your spirit is too sacred to become a hallway for every unhealed person to walk through. Guard the fruit. Guard the garden. Guard the atmosphere. Love people. But do not let love become lawlessness. Forgive people, but do not let forgiveness become foolishness. Honor people, but do not let honor become slavery, because the peace God is producing in you is not common, and what is sacred must be governed. And now you must correct how you see yourself, because some of you do not lose peace because people took it. You surrender peace because you are afraid of what peace will make you look like. You think if you do not react, people will think you are weak. You think if you do not argue, people will think they won. You think if you do not raise your voice, people will think you have no power. You think if you stay calm, you are being passive, soft, easy to ignore, easy to dismiss, easy to control. No. Stop right there. That is not peace. That is your insecurity trying to teach you warfare. Peace is not weakness. Peace is not silence because you have nothing to say. Peace is not restraint because you have no strength. Peace is strength under divine government. Peace is power that has been disciplined. Peace is authority that does not need to perform. Peace is a spirit so submitted to God that provocation cannot become its master. Anybody can react. Reaction requires no maturity. Anger reacts. Peace responds. Fear rushes. Peace discerns. Pride argues. Peace stands. Insecurity explains. Peace obeys. Immaturity must prove itself, but government knows itself. The person who has to explode to be heard is not always strong. Many times they are only loud. And volume is not authority. Noise is not power. Emotional reaction is not dominion. Sometimes the loudest person in the room is the least governed person in the room. Do not confuse a raised voice with a rooted spirit. Do not confuse intimidation with strength. Do not confuse quick answers with wisdom. Do not confuse aggression with courage. A person can shout and still be afraid. A person can dominate a conversation and still be insecure. A person can win an argument and still lose authority in the spirit. Because kingdom authority is not proven by how much noise you can make. Kingdom authority is proven by what can happen around you without taking over what is within you. You are not designed to be controlled by every atmosphere you enter. You are designed to carry a greater atmosphere into the room. That is dominion. Dominion is not you walking into chaos and becoming chaos. Dominion is you walking into chaos and remaining governed. Dominion is not you matching every insult, every accusation, every mood, every spirit, every tone. Dominion is carrying order where there is disorder, carrying clarity where there is confusion, carrying truth where there is manipulation, carrying peace where there is storm. Some of you keep adjusting your spirit to the lowest atmosphere in the room. If they are angry, you become angry. If they are anxious, you become anxious. If they are petty, you become petty. If they are sarcastic, you become sarcastic. If they are offended, you become defensive. Then you leave the room saying, they made me act that way. No, they revealed who was governing you. Because whatever can control your response has access to your government. That is a hard word, but it is necessary. If every insult can pull you out of character, your character is not yet governing you. If every misunderstanding can drag you into panic, your identity is not yet settled. If every accusation forces you to perform, pride is still sitting too close to the throne. If every provocation gets a reaction from you, then peace is still an idea to you, not yet a ruler within you. The peaceful person is not weak. The peaceful person is dangerous to disorder because they cannot be easily recruited into foolishness. They cannot be baited into every argument. They cannot be purchased with flattery or controlled by criticism. They do not need to answer every fool, chase every rumor, correct every opinion, respond to every tone, or defend every misunderstood moment. Their life is under another government. Their spirit has a king. This is why Jesus could stand before accusation and not lose himself. He was not weak. He was governed. He could speak when speech was assignment, and he could be silent when silence was obedience. That is power. Power is not always saying something. Sometimes power is knowing when words would only feed the wrong spirit. Power is not always proving your innocence. Sometimes power is trusting God to vindicate what people are too blind to recognize. Power is not always taking control of the room. Sometimes power is refusing to let the room take control of you. You must stop letting people define strength for you. The world thinks strength is reaction. The kingdom teaches strength is rule. The world says defend yourself. The kingdom says govern yourself. The world says make them feel your anger. The kingdom says let them see your fruit. The world says do not let anybody disrespect you. The kingdom says do not let disrespect make you unlike your father. That does not mean you become a doormat. Do not misunderstand me. Peace does not mean you tolerate abuse. Peace does not mean you avoid truth. Peace does not mean you smile while people violate order. No. Peace tells the truth without poison. Peace sets boundaries without hatred. Peace confronts without chaos. Peace walks away without bitterness. Peace can say no and still remain clean. Peace can close a door and still keep his hands pure. So stop confusing calm with weakness. Stop confusing restraint with fear. Stop confusing meekness with powerlessness. Meekness is not weakness. Meekness is strength submitted to purpose. A wild horse may have energy, but a trained horse has usefulness. Undisciplined power destroys. Governed power builds. And God is not trying to make you noisy. He is trying to make you effective. You do not need to prove you are strong by becoming ungoverned. You do not need to prove you are anointed by being dramatic. You do not need to prove you are right by losing your peace in every conversation. Stand, discern, respond, govern your spirit. Let your peace become evidence that another kingdom is operating inside you. Because peace is not the absence of strength. Peace is strength under divine government. And when your spirit is governed by God, provocation may knock at the door, but it does not get to sit on the throne. And if peace is strength under divine government, then guarding peace cannot remain a sermon you enjoy. It must become a discipline you practice. Because the real test is not whether you can shout amen when truth is being preached. The real test is what you do when the text message comes. The real test is what you do when the accusation comes. The real test is what you do when someone misreads your motive, questions your integrity, insults your progress, ignores your sacrifice, and invites your flesh to take the microphone. This is where peace becomes daily, not dramatic, daily. Protecting your peace is not one big emotional decision you make at an altar and then never have to make again. No! Peace is guarded through small obediences nobody applauds. You pause before responding. You refuse unnecessary arguments. You leave some accusations unanswered. You limit access to draining voices. You return to prayer before reacting. You let God govern the first sentence, not just the final apology. Stop right there. I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, but I have to say something. No, you do not always have to say something. Sometimes the need to say something is not conviction, it is pride asking for permission. Sometimes the urge to defend yourself is not truth. It is insecurity trying to manage its image. Sometimes the pressure to respond quickly is not wisdom. It is provocation disguised as urgency. Not every text needs an immediate answer. Not every post needs a response. Not every misunderstanding needs a defense. Not every rumor needs your voice. Not every insult needs your energy. Not every invitation deserves your presence. You must learn to ask, does this build me? Does this correct me? Does this sharpen me? Does this align me? Does this serve my assignment? And if it does not build, correct, sharpen, or align you, then why are you feeding it with your attention? Your energy is not common. Your focus is not cheap. Your peace is not public property. You were not created to be emotionally available to every disturbance that knows your name. You have an assignment. That purpose is not a decoration. It is a divine responsibility. And every day, distraction will ask you to spend purpose on provocation. Every day, offense will knock. Anxiety will knock. Drama will knock. Old patterns will knock. Familiar voices will knock. But maturity is learning that a knock is not a command. Some of you are losing peace because you keep answering doors God already gave you wisdom to close. You already know that conversation drains you. You already know that voice confuses you. You already know that environment pulls you backward. You already know that argument never produces fruit. But because you want to prove you are right, prove you are strong, prove you are kind, prove you are available, prove you are not afraid, you keep reopening doors that wisdom already locked. Stop rehearsing offense. Stop feeding anxiety. Stop replaying what they said, how they said it, when they said it, who heard it, who believed it, who liked it, who shared it, who misunderstood it. You are giving mental rent to people who are not paying for the damage they are doing in your spirit. You are sitting in private courtrooms arguing cases God never asked you to try. You are cross-examining people in your imagination while your assignment is waiting for your obedience. Listen carefully. Purpose requires attention. And attention is one of the currencies of destiny. Where your attention goes, your strength follows. If you give all your attention to offense, you will have no strength left for obedience. If you give all your attention to critics, you will have no imagination left for creation. If you give all your attention to proving yourself, you will have no peace left to become yourself. The enemy does not always need to destroy you. Sometimes he only needs to distract you. If he can get you arguing when you should be building, reacting when you should be praying, scrolling when you should be studying, explaining when you should be obeying, then he has successfully moved you from assignment to agitation. And many people are not defeated because they are weak. They are defeated because they are available to too many interruptions. You want to protect your peace? Then choose purpose over provocation. Choose prayer over panic. Choose silence over foolishness. Choose obedience over explanation. Choose discipline over drama. Before you respond, pause. Before you defend, discern. Before you post, pray. Before you answer the call, ask whether your spirit has permission from God or pressure from guilt. Before you enter the conversation, ask whether it is a doorway to clarity or a trap for your peace. This is not avoidance. This is government. Avoidance runs from responsibility. Government discerns responsibility. Avoidance refuses truth. Government speaks truth at the right time, with the right spirit, for the right purpose. Avoidance hides in fear. Government stands in peace. There is a difference between being afraid to confront and being wise enough not to wrestle with foolishness. Do not let people pull you into battles that have no fruit. Do not let wounded people assign you emotional emergencies every day. Do not let social media train your spirit to be reactive. Do not let your phone become a leash. Do not let notifications become commandments. Do not let another person's disorder set the agenda for your inner life. You are not a slave to urgency. You are a steward of purpose. This is daily discipline. Wake up and return your spirit to God before you return it to the world. Pray before you scroll. Think before you speak. Breathe before you answer. Walk away before your flesh takes over. Set the boundary before resentment builds. Close the app before comparison poisons your gratitude. End the conversation before peace becomes the price of staying polite. Because peace is guarded when purpose becomes more important than proving yourself to people. When purpose is small in your eyes, every provocation looks important. But when purpose becomes weighty, some arguments become too cheap for your attention. Some opinions become too small for your assignment. Some insults become too powerless to govern your day. You stop living to win moments and start living to fulfill destiny. So guard your peace in the little places. Guard it in the inbox. Guard it in the meeting. Guard it in the family conversation. Guard it in the comment section. Guard it when you are tired. Guard it when you are misunderstood. Guard it when nobody sees the restraint it took not to respond. Heaven sees. God sees. Your spirit knows. And every small obedience strengthens the government of peace within you. Do not trade your assignment for an argument. Do not trade your oil for an opinion. Do not trade your future for the temporary satisfaction of proving a point. Let them misunderstand if obedience requires silence. Let them talk if purpose requires focus. Let them assume if peace requires distance. Keep building. Keep praying. Keep obeying. Keep your spirit under government. Provocation may present itself as urgent, but purpose must remain supreme. And now let your life become the evidence, not your explanation, not your announcement, not your emotional speech about what you are trying to become. Let your life become proof that the fruit has been protected. Because the world has heard enough noise from people who have no fruit. It has heard enough claims from people with no government. It has heard enough spiritual language from people who are still available to every provocation, every insult, every manipulation, every appetite, every old pattern, and every unnecessary battle. Listen to me carefully. Peace is fruit. Fruit requires cultivation. Cultivation requires boundaries. Boundaries require courage, and courage requires identity. If you do not know who you are, you will not have the courage to protect what God is growing in you. You will keep apologizing for having order. You will keep explaining why you need distance. You will keep feeling guilty for obeying wisdom. You will keep opening your spirit to people and environments that have already proven they do not respect the garden. Stop right there. This is not the season to donate your peace to things that cannot produce destiny. Stop donating your peace to arguments that only feed pride. Stop donating your peace to old patterns that God already delivered you from. Stop donating your peace to public approval from people who do not know your assignment. Stop donating your peace to emotional manipulation from people who only honor your boundaries when they benefit from them. Stop donating your peace to battles that have no harvest. You were not created to be available to every disturbance. You were not designed to carry every opinion. You were not manufactured by God to become a container for other people's disorder. You were designed with purpose. You were born with assignment. You were given a spirit that must be governed, a mind that must be renewed, a heart that must be guarded, and fruit that must be protected. Protect your peace, because your life cannot bear lasting fruit while your spirit remains open to every disturbance. A garden without a fence is not humble. It is vulnerable. A house without a door is not loving. It is exposed. A heart without discernment is not pure. It is ungoverned. And anything ungoverned will eventually be occupied by something it was never designed to host. So guard your atmosphere. Do not let every conversation enter it. Guard your words. Do not let anger borrow your tongue. Guard your attention. Do not let distraction spend the currency of your destiny. Guard your assignment. Do not let people who rejected their own purpose talk you out of yours. Guard the fruit God is growing in you. Guard it when it is small. Guard it when it is misunderstood. Guard it when nobody celebrates it. Guard it when pressure comes to test whether it is real. Because fruit does not grow by accident. Peace does not mature by wishing. Joy does not strengthen by convenience. Patience does not deepen in comfort. Self-control is not produced by applause. These things are cultivated in the hidden places, in the daily decisions, in the quiet obedience, in the moment when you could have reacted but you chose government, when you could have exploded but you chose discipline, when you could have performed but you chose purpose. Do not despise that hidden work. The root is always less visible than the fruit, but the root is what carries the tree. People may not see the prayers you prayed to stay calm. They may not see the tears you cried while choosing forgiveness. They may not see the restraint it took to walk away clean. They may not see the courage it took to close the door. But heaven sees. God sees. And in time, your life will reveal what your private obedience protected. When peace is protected, clarity returns. You begin to see again. You stop making decisions through offense. You stop interpreting life through fear. You stop calling every delay a denial and every disagreement a rejection. Vision rises. Discipline strengthens. Your words become fewer but heavier. Your yes becomes cleaner. Your no becomes stronger. Your presence becomes settled. Your life begins to speak without needing to perform. That is the power of protected fruit. You do not have to announce peace when peace governs you. You do not have to advertise maturity when maturity is evident. You do not have to convince people that God is working in you when your responses, your boundaries, your focus, your discipline, and your atmosphere become proof. Fruit speaks. Fruit feeds. Fruit remains. And this is the final charge in the next season. Stop living open. Stop living scattered. Stop living as if your peace is optional. Stop letting every person with an opinion become a prophet over your emotions. Stop letting every crisis become your commandment. Stop letting every offense become your assignment. You are not a slave to reaction. You are a citizen of a kingdom, and kingdom people are governed people. Let your life prove that peace is not weakness. Let your life prove that boundaries are not bitterness. Let your life prove that silence can be strength, distance can be wisdom, and restraint can be power. Let your life prove that God can grow fruit in a person who refuses to let disorder sit on the throne. So write it in your spirit, speak it out of your mouth, and if you believe it, put it where your decision can meet your declaration. Peace is fruit, and I will guard it. Say it again. Peace is fruit, and I will guard it. Not just when life is easy, not just when people understand, not just when emotions are calm. I will guard it under pressure. I will guard it in conflict. I will guard it when provocation knocks, because provocation may knock at the door, but it will not sit on the throne. And if you are ready to keep building a life that reflects God's original purpose, stay planted. Keep learning. Keep growing. Keep letting truth correct you, strengthen you, and govern you. Because your life was never meant to be ruled by chaos. Your life was meant to bear fruit. And when peace is cultivated, guarded, and governed, your spirit becomes steady, your purpose becomes clear, and your life begins to testify that the kingdom of God is not just something you talk about, it is something you carry.